Welcome to the Football Historian Podcast.
By all means, enjoy it.
He will go right to the very top.
Dos, tres, cuatro times.
Here we go, Germans.
I will turn these results round.
All right, that's good manners.
There's animosity, but there's no fight.
If you can't beat them, join them.
Okay, make me feel sick if I look at you.
No, I want to fight here.
Don't drink, don't sleep with women, don't drive fast cars.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit too!
Hello, welcome to the Football Historian Podcast. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Anthony Gerrard. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
I want to start at the start of your football memories. What is your first footballing memory?
First footballing memory, just playing footy with either on the Bluebell, not too far from here, or in my mum and dad's.
Yeah, and then who did you support when you were growing up?
Liverpool. Yeah.
And you obviously start playing with Everton. I think it's under 8s that you joined there.
Under 8, yeah.
So, what was that at that time? Were you thinking, I'll play here for a bit, then go to Liverpool, or was it just I'm made up to be playing for a club? And what was that feeling like?
No, I wasn't too bothered, to be honest. I was just playing with, you know what I mean? So, a lad down the road, I'll give him a couple of mentions, and he's made up, so I'll give him another one here. Ian Wakefield, his dad, took me to Western Juniors. Ian's like 2 years older than me, so I was playing in their team. Yeah. So I was just like doing really well.
Just be part of it,
I just made up, and then Jim Fletcher and our Everton scout, I'm not sure that he's still alive, to be honest. He just came over and just said, would you be interested in going?
Easy choice.
And then that was it.
Yeah,
it was just one of them. It was whoever came in first, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then is it weird the first time you were an Everton badge as a Liverpool fan, or is it just straight away you cast aside like the Carragher thing that he used to come in an Everton kit at Liverpool? Were you doing the other way around?
No, but I most probably done that.
Yeah.
I can't remember doing it, but I'll definitely most probably say that I wore a Liverpool footy kit to like one of the sessions, early sessions, before I signed. But then I can still remember it now, the training kit. It was a royal blue jumper, navy blue socks, and navy blue socks, shorts and socks, navy blue, and I had like this little tag on, and it had like it used to be a school of excellence then. Yeah. So Everton School of Excellence under 8, blah blah blah, and then the jumper had like an embedded Everton badge, like a big crest on it. So it was good, and then that was at Belfield. Yeah,
and so from the start, and obviously you make your way up through the age groups there. I think you're captain in the reserve side, and you're at the club as at the end of your time there is when David Moyes is there. And I think you said you were with Rooney when he was coming through. So when you look back at your time at Everton, what are the abiding memories, and was it a positive experience for you?
Yeah, I loved it. Of course, when you're playing for a club for so long as well, even though you're a Liverpool fan, you start becoming a purple. That makes sense. It's crazy, you know what I mean? You start wavering, and especially being in and around the first team when derbies and all that. When Lee Cardiff scored that goal, I was in the tunnel, and Steven went happy one bit like when he came down. But it was. I loved it. Loved every moment of it. Yeah, that was when football was real. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like you had to be seen to be, excelling, to be progressing into reserves and stuff. Nowadays people get appearances and playing a Mickey Mouse Cup. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, it's diluting the quality, I think. Yeah. But I had some unbelievable experiences. Like.
And then you said there you're a bit purple. What is it today for you then? Obviously with that connection with Everton and being a Liverpool fan, is it?
Both. Yeah, same. I'm not like one of these crazy bitter fans like, I hate them and all that. Yeah. The city needs 2 teams. Yeah. Like when Everton were on their precipice of going down, people were made up, and I'm like, well, why? You lose your derby for God knows how long because you don't know what the financial states of Everton was at that time. And I was like, it's bad for the city. Yeah. Said every week we get tourists coming in, what an unbelievable city, blah blah blah. No, get them gone. And I was like, baby, shelve your diff. Do you know what I mean?
I think Carragher said the same. My missus is a blue as well. She works for the Liverpool Foundation, so she wears a Liverpool kit every day when she's an Everton fan. But like she said, I think Carragher was saying that what you've just said there, basically, you'd lose so much from the city.
Yeah, you can't have one without the other. Yeah. It's as simple as that. Without Everton, Liverpool, and without, vice versa. Yeah. As much as people go, oh no, we're the bigger club, Liverpool, blah blah. You're not. You're only as good as your rival.
And the new ground as well. That's just going to make things better.
Of course, yeah. My opinion as well. Like that year that Everton finished 4th, I was in that squad. Yeah. I was in that squad, and it was unbelievable to see what how good they were, and And I'd love for them to get back there, because people talk about City and all these other clubs. They're nothing compared to what Everton are as a club. The history, Everton. So to see them in the doldrums, it's no good. You want two teams fighting from the same city for the top honours. Yeah. Me Liverpool mates won't be happy with that. I mean, Everton mates will be, you know what I mean? But that's how I see it. Yeah. One isn't the same without the other. It's as simple as that. Yeah.
And then I get at your time there, the manager is David Moyes. He's back there now. How important was he to the club, and what was he like with you?
My very first reserve team game, I was a 16-year-old and didn't know I was playing, so I got brought out of school and we played Newcastle away, and I just thought, well, sound, I'm on the bench buzzing, and then I got named in the team against like a very good Newcastle team, and Sholan Amiobi, I think he's like 3 years, maybe 4 years older than me, I'm not too sure. He elbowed me and splattered my nose in the face, and I thought, wow, is this what it's about? Yeah. And my nose, like, even now, like, I've took that many whacks on my nose, it's flat as a pancake. And after it, he come in and said, play like that and you'll have a future here. So that just gives you that little bit of hope, do you know what I mean? And that's all you want as a kid. Because when you look at the Premier League, it's so far away. But when someone says that to you, and then I was just so determined, so driven, that I just give everything to football in them few years, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I think I've spoken to a few ex-players, and I think a big thing with them is honesty from a manager. And was Moyes like that with you? Would he tell you you were close, what you had to do? Or
well, when you said about bring something in, there's like a thing, a crazy thing is that when I was training with the first team, so we'd go down to train at Everton. Obviously, Wayne was with the first team at this point. Absolutely smashes you. So when you train at two separate locations, when you walk in the building, the first team might need players. So like when you start getting acknowledged, like Jez, that the first team have called, you'll have to go down. And like when you're getting all your gear together and going back out, it gives you that like little bit of boost, you know what I mean? A little bit of, not authority, I think that's the wrong, like a little bit of a boost.
Yeah.
So when that had happened, I was like, this is definitely what I want to do. And then when I went in with the first team, I didn't have much to do with David Moyes, to be honest, apart from the very last day that I left Everton. And it's crazy. Like that situation was absolutely balmy. So, like I said, the show and tell I wanted to bring an island cap I've got.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find it. It was in my Mars.
Yeah, don't worry.
And it's like Narnia with my mum's. Everything goes there and just doesn't come back, you know what I mean? So I went there as a centre-back. And then ended up playing 3 games. And 3 games I played in centre-mid and number 10. So like when I came back, and like we have like a debrief out of everybody got on and all that got brought up, and he was like, I didn't know that you played centre-mid. I was like, yeah, I've done like in the past.
Yeah.
And then that season came and went, and then it was the season they finished 4th, and they had like, I think it was 8 to 10 players out of contract. So if anybody remembers Belfield, like the old players now, I used to love it because it was like proper homely.
Yeah.
So you go upstairs and all the officers are upstairs. So as I've gone in on the Sunday, I think it is, or the Monday, I'm not too sure, all the lads are lined up, like sat down in the canteen, and I got left to last, and I was like, oh. And obviously Tony Ibbott only lives around the corner from here. Yeah. He was like, like not close, but we used to speak because obviously it's fighting lads and that. And he was like, are we going for a birthday after whatever happens? I was like, I don't know, mate, just let's see what happens. Yeah. And I got left to last. And basically he said, you can stay, but you're only going to be playing in the reserves. And I was doing unbelievably well, like smashing it. Yeah. And I thought I needed more. And I was like, I'm not sure what I want to do. He was like, well, just, and I went, no, I'll just go.
Yeah. I think that's admirable as well, though. Do you regret that decision or not?
No, I don't regret it. Well, I don't know, maybe. But what I'd done in that season stood me in good stead. So I went on loan to Walsall, they were like near the bottom, kept them up with me and a few others. So I knew I had that on the table. So when I went there and I'd done what I'd done, Merson said to me, I'll sign you no matter what. And I was like, cool, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
first team football, League One, which is, a very good standard. And so I knew I had that in the back burner, but I had an agent at the time, and he was like, he's one of the biggest agents about, but I just got like forgotten about. So when I come home, that my dad was going crazy, going, "Laddie hadn't even been in contact with you, blah blah blah." And I was like, "No," he said, "a little short yet, but just the way dads are, you don't understand football." He was just on. I was like, and then the half had me panicking. But up to that point, I was gutted that I weren't going to be at Everton, but I weren't panicking because of what I'd done.
Yeah.
So I phoned Merson, and he went, yeah, go on, Sam, we'll do it. So signed on the Monday morning. And as I'm driving back up to Liverpool, the agent phoned me. David Manasseh's name is, and goes, "Oh, Anthony, nice, how are you, okay, how's things?" And I'm like, "I haven't heard from you, I don't know how long." And he went, "Yeah, sorry, been busy trying to sort a deal for you." And I went, "Oh." He went, "Yeah, Plymouth want to sign you on a 4-year deal." And I went, "Oh my God." They were in the Championship at the time. So I had to tell him, I went, "Listen, I've already signed for Walsall," you know, because I hadn't heard from you. And he was like, "Oh, we can't be doing that." So then that was the end of our relationship, me and him, because of my dad. But no, and then it just went from there.
Yeah,
so.
obviously there's a lot of moves that come. But just touching back on Everton as well, obviously talk about Rooney a little bit, but he's a freak, and I'm sure you won't be offended by me saying he was probably better than football than you, because he's better than most people in the country he's ever produced. He came in and said that these players were his heroes. Again, obviously you not being a bloke, slightly different, but still obviously respect for them. And he came into training and realised he was better than all of them. You were at the time when Everton at their peak, 2004, but coming into that, was there a route into the first team that you thought, I'm better than this player and I can beat them out the way?
Yeah, well that's how I seen it.
Yeah.
So what I'd done in that, so to go back to it, so I'd finished my loan spell the week before the Premier League season finished.
Yeah.
So I went back in. So I went into the office and spoke to them, and they're like, "Yeah, we've had all kinds of reports on you." And he sat me down and like went through them all about listening, so it's saying again. So all that season I was training with the first team, do you know what I mean? And I was holding my own, and I was thinking, all right, okay, cool, I'm doing all right here. And then when I went out and played men's football and come back, that gave me that even like little surge of self-belief, do you know what I mean? And I was like, no, and they had Davey Weir, Alan Stubbs, Joe Yobo, Clarkey, Peter Clark. I played with Clarkey loads, but he was like, they were trying to get him out at the time. So I was like, there's nothing in my way here. And in my own head, I'm like, I'm better than Davey Weir and Stubbsy. I've got more legs, they understand the game. But so I fully thought I was better than them at the time.
Yeah.
And then when he said that, I was like, what? I just couldn't believe it. But obviously, Ibo was like, yeah, lad, you're definitely going to get a contract, a 2-year deal. And I was like, do you reckon? And I always had that little bit of self-doubt, but and it sounds crazy, I had loads of self-belief, but I had that self-doubt as well.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I stepped on the football pitch, I knew what I was capable of.
Yeah.
But then, ever since I was a young kid, it was always, we only just kept you on. You know what I mean? So when you have that for so many years, you always have that little seed of doubt in your mind. And I think that's a good thing in a way, because that's what pushes you on in sessions, in games, to prove to people, no, to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
And I've always had that. But then and I just thought, no, because I am better than them. And I did say it to him. And that's like the start of like me being me as a person.
Yeah.
And as a player.
And so do you look at Tony Hibbert and think what could have been? Because you said you were so close in terms of that contract, that in the same line waiting. Do you think that could have been me who spent my whole career in Everton and going out with a testimony and all stuff like that?
Of course, that's all. It's literally circumstance, being in the right place, the right time.
Yeah. And
then that's how it could have been.
Yeah.
If Everton would have finished, if Everton were in there, because I was on the bench and stuff, but I was on the bench at Chelsea, Tottenham, Charlton. Do you know what I mean? So if Everton would have finished the customary 18th, 16th, I've got no doubt whatsoever I would have played at least 2 appearances in that season.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Just because it meant so much.
It's just because the circumstance. Have they ever been in the Champions League since?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's all it is. It's just being at the right place at the right time. Unfortunately, it wasn't. It was brilliant for the club, but not so much for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But like I said, I fancied myself all day.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on. Just 2 last questions on everything, but obviously there's so much more to follow. Wayne Rooney, was he good at footy?
Like no way you say about what you just said then about he was better than everybody else. I could see that from age 14. Some of the stuff he used to do, and it wasn't even his ability. His ability was absolutely fine. It was a mentality. He had to be the best at everything that he done.
Yeah.
So I told the story on other podcasts about he used to have a long throw as like an under 8, under 9. Mate, he come in this day and just went, watch how far I can throw this ball, and just went, wow. And I went, why is it that? He was like, I've just been practicing loads, just, you know, because I could see how far you could throw it, and I was just like, you're just not, do you know what I mean? You're just not normal in a lovely possible way. But yeah, it was just.
Do you think he is underrated in terms of how he's held? Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, what he's done.
I've said this again before. If he really, really wanted to, would be talking about Rooney, Messi, Ronaldo.
Yeah. Rather
than just Ronaldo and Messi. I've said that from day dot. His natural ability, he's got more natural ability than what Cristiano Ronaldo had. Cristiano Ronaldo had the unbelievable desire and drive. But when you're coming into a first team at 16, I can see why the fire burnt out a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I can see that 100%. Why? The pressure of it, on public scrutiny, media, everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I can totally understand why, I won't say dwindled, because that's just why, the fire just didn't burn as bright as, the players. But they couldn't hold a light to him, like, ability-wise. Honestly, he was, well, we'll use the word, he was a freak.
Yeah.
In a nice possible
in a good way, yeah. And then, you've got a famous cousin in Steven Gerrard. That's something you said there, that Everton finished 4th.
Yeah.
Do you know before the end of the season that you'll go? Because I'm thinking, is that a weird point that it's the best Everton have done, Liverpool with the European Cup, and it being so important? Was it like, you on cloud 9, or were you then thinking, I'm going in the crossroads to Walsall, which obviously still a good move, but a division's down? What was that feeling like? Was it you both together or both separate?
No, it was crazy. It was that year. It was one of the best, and also it was just weird how things happened. Yeah. So I had 3 opportunities to sign for Liverpool, and because Steven was Steven, and me being like, no, I want to, walk my own path and all that, which in hindsight, absolute divvy move. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying ride his coattails, but with what he was at the club and what he'd accomplished, he would have put me in a good stead at the football club. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I signed my pro deal at Everton, I had 2 offers from Liverpool, and I was like, no, I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? Hindsight, could I have had them Premier League appearances and stuff like that? Maybe. I could even have a Champions League medal with the lads who were on the bench at the time, do you know what I mean? But it was just weird. I don't look at it like him and me, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, that's your career, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was just, as I said, that one, somewhere it does seem like there's, because as you said, Everton have never finished that high before, or since, obviously, before they did winning league titles, but that era, that was like the freakishly high point for them, and you're on the brink of breaking into that team, so
that's it.
Must have been a very proud moment for the family, as much as anything, that you were both doing so well at that time.
Yeah, it was, obviously, like I said, he was doing, there's no point in me trying to compare himself to Steven, like comparing apples and oranges, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm just trying to find my own path in the game.
Yeah. So,
but that time that when he won it, I was crying at half time in a bar in Mexico at the, with my missus, just in Cancun it was, like thinking, oh no, this is going to be a drummer for him. I don't want that to happen. So I've gone from like my own personal high to a low, to another crazy low. It was watching him getting gupped at half time, to crying tears of happiness and joy, thinking, I can't believe he's done it well, buzzing for him.
Yeah. And did you say there about the derby that you said you're in the tunnel and you see him? So what was that like when you're at Everton and he's at Liverpool? Was it playful banter? Was it?
No, dude, he didn't talk to me. Lee Cardiff scored that goal and he just walked right past me. I can completely understand it, because I'd been the same. If I was the captain of Liverpool at the time and it was a derby and they were still going for the Champions League at that time, did he make the Champions League?
He qualified by winning.
Yeah, by winning it, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that was a massive goal in that circumstance, you know what I mean? I can completely understand, because I'd been in the same circumstance if I was the captain of Liverpool.
Yeah.
And my little cousin was standing there going, yes, and all that in the tunnel. Not in his face, you know what I mean? Just like celebrating with the lads. You know what I mean? But it was, looking back, it was quite funny.
Did you talk to each other outside of football at that point? Was that ever a thing? Or was it football separate? Or?
No, we always used, like I said, when I was on the Blue Bell, it was down to me nan. She always used to make him play footy with me. So even though I was younger than him, I always played. Me nan always made sure that I was playing with them, whether it was knockout, heads and volleys, And there's a couple of times where they throw me in goal, and because you want to like impress and that, you throw your hands at things and like the ball would kill. And I was only 5 years younger than, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I used to go, I'm going in to get a drink, and go in, nah, my hands are killing me. And she'd come and go, what are you doing throwing him in goal? You know what I mean? I've had all that. But like I said, that for me, like growing up, there was no better environment than playing with like footy with your cousins. Like the buzz you used to get coming down Salerno Road, going up, I think it was Ardens, not too sure. And there used to be like a little alleyway, and I'd run up, and my mum and dad would be further down, and I'd run up, and they go, is there a game on? And I go, yeah, there's a game. You go, go on then, go in. So I used to like run down the alleyway, go in, see me nan, and come back out and play footy as my mum and dad were coming up. But now it's been blocked off, so you have to go all the way around to come into the road. But this little walkway, that's when you could just see it's brilliant.
Well, that's good. As you say, the things that follow from Everton, there's a lot more to come, as you say. In Walsall, you've already touched on Paul Merson. I think I've heard you speak about him as well there. Maybe a better person than he was a manager.
Yeah.
But I've heard a few things. I think it was, who do we have in? I think it was John Welsh when he played the Tranmere under John Barnes, and he was saying like, that when you're at that standard of a player, you just can't grasp that players aren't as good as what you are. Was that do you reckon that's what held him back the most as a manager there, or was there other things?
I think there were other circumstances in Merson's thing, yo. But when you just play, you just played in like a little square on the left-hand side. Like I'd say 8-foot box, and didn't move from either side of the halfway line when we just play small-sided games. So we'd either play with the outside of his right foot or the inside of his right foot. And just what he could do from that little box was frightening. But yeah, lovely fella. Like I said, I owe a lot to him because he, gave me my first, break in football, really.
And then just touch on Rooney as well, in that he hasn't done as well in management as he has as a footballer. But do you reckon that maybe these players, again, just need to be with the players of their ability? Do you know what I mean? Like if Mace was higher up, obviously there's other things going on. Maybe he was a coach somewhere, and if Rooney's doing it at United or at Everton, do you reckon that's what they need rather than dropping down divisions? But obviously it's so hard to get those jobs.
Yeah, of course. Like obviously Wayne had Rosie, Liam Senior as number 2 as Derby, doing really well. Great coach. I think it's partly being in the environment that you need to be in, but also having the backroom staff in and around you. So Liam Senior, a young, hungry coach, wanted to prove himself and done everything he possibly could for Wayne Rooney to showcase him as a coach as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when you're coaching, like I'm coaching at the minute, you're only as good as the kids that you're coaching. That's no disrespect to the kids. Do you know what I mean? Because I love doing it.
Yeah.
But there's certain levels to it. Do you know what I mean? There's certain levels to it. So like I coach at Fleetwood now. I couldn't go and coach at a Category 1 academy, because when I watch them coaching, there's no personality in it. They just stand there and just, well done. That's just not me.
Yeah.
I'm too invested in it. I don't know whether it's because I've come from football or, you know what I mean, I'm just born differently. But it's just the passion and the intensity that I want to, coach with. It's not suited for that. You know what I mean? It's suited for 14s and above, and then men's football. That's why I see it.
And getting involved in it.
Yeah, you got to. You know what I mean?
And touching back on Walsall, then obviously you win 2 Player of the Year awards, and there's a promotion. under Richard Money. Yeah. You're like between League 2 and League 1. She say sometimes if you come from a Premier League club and go to League 1, and then obviously there's a relegation that follows, you can get stuck at that level. Was that a big fear of yours that, I was, as you say, if any other season may have been a Premier League player, and now you're a League 2 player? Was that like a fear of yours, and how did you make yourself get out of that position?
No, it wasn't a fear. I just wanted to be a footballer, and I knew how good I was. I knew how good I was in me, in my ability. I always back himself 100%. Do you know what I mean? So it was just a circumstance of being relegated. I think we were like 7th going into Christmas in League 1, and then after Christmas, I don't think we won a game, or maybe won 2 games, and then like you scratching your head, look at that squad. How did that happen? Do you know what I mean? It's just one of them. It's just like a crazy scenario, like Walsall now.
Yeah,
Walsall were 18 points clear, 15 points clear. Now they're tearing, you know what I mean, on the point of dropping out of the automatics in League 2.
Yeah,
that's how fine margin. How quick it changes in the fine margins. But Richard Money was brilliant though, because when he came in, he had a clear plan. He knew exactly what he was doing. Sat us all down in an auditorium in Lilleshall. Had a big spreadsheet, big presentation, and just said, "This is how we're going to get promoted." And everyone was like, "What? We just thought we were just going to languish, as you said."
Yeah.
But when he come in and had this vision, he said, "No, we're not going to do that. This is what we've got in the group." And he said, "We're going to pick up 10 points from every 5 games. That's what the average is to get out of this league, and we're going to do it." And sure enough, he done it.
Yeah. And again, did you find it difficult for managers to put trust in you, or did you always feel like, because we've had Adam Hamill in as well, as we tried to touch on, obviously you were in a famous dressing room with him. I think he had several managers like Mark Robbins who like trusted him and then take them around to clubs. So like, how important is a manager, and do you have to win them over? And then when new managers come in, is it hard for them not to then? Because I feel like obviously in defence sometimes it's an easy place to go, right, I'll bring someone in there, they can be my defender. So like, how hard is it battling managers and getting in their good books?
It's not being, it's just being who you are. Do you know what I mean? Like, another way to say leopard never change. That's me.
Yeah.
You either like me or you don't. If there's black and white and there's clarity in that, and you don't like me, just tell me and we can work something out. That's cool. That's no problem. But don't have me hanging around. I'm not a sub. I've played too many games. I'm not. Like, you get footballers and they're happy to be substitutes. Just happy just to sit on the bench and like, oh, well, yeah, I'll get 15 minutes. That's just not me. I either want to play or don't put me in a squad, because I'm not there to be on the bench. Do you know what I mean? I know that sounds really selfish, but that's what I was brought up on. I'm not a sub. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know whether that was because I played so many games so early in my career. But like that used to probably frustrate me. Like, lads would come on and they come on like a bag of shit. And you're like, what are you doing? You're a footballer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come on, you're there to affect the game. Do you know what I mean? So like rugby, for instance, they have closers. That's what they're called. So them lads, they have in their heads, they know I'm coming on this in this game to either see the game out for the team to win it, or we need to, impact it. Yeah. In football, it's completely different because there's so much going on. It's attack v defence. With rugby, you've got the ball in your hand until you fucking mess it up.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just can't. Like I said, it's just one of them things.
You have to be involved in it. And then, so we'll carry on with Walsall. In that, obviously, you say that there was a transfer request that went in. You lost the captaincy, but then you stayed and played there. I think speaking to you, I know the answer's going to be no, there was never a doubt. But do you see other players who might down tools or whatever in those situations, and can you understand why maybe they thought you would have done that? Because I know obviously you didn't, and you would never have done that.
It's the person who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you look at all me throughout my career, I'll always give it 100%. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Even at Chesterfield, my last club, it was a shit show. I was fat, didn't want to be there, but I thought, go on, I'll give it a go. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go there and not give it 100% because that's not who I am. Do you know what I mean? So, like I said, I went on loan to Hull, later on. And I don't, you know what I mean? But when I went at the Walsall one, that was circumstance. That was agents getting involved. Yeah, go on, it's there for you and blah, blah, blah. That was another move to Southampton. They wanted too much money and I was like, you got me for free. They're offering 350 grand in League One. Just let me go.
Yeah.
There's no reason why. And then look what Southampton went, bang bang, jump. Do you know what I mean? So it's just, like I said, it's circumstances, just being in the right place at the right time. But also you've got to put yourself in that position for when the circumstance happens. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So if I weren't doing what I was supposed to be doing,
sure, yeah. It's totally on you then.
It's only on me, yeah.
Do your best, you're fine. Well, so it's Cardiff next after that, wasn't it? So obviously, again, a big club with some big players. What was that period again like for you moving there? And was it happy relocation? Happy with the dressing room? What was it like?
Yeah, it was strange, to be honest, because at Walsall, I knew I was going. At the end of that season, I knew I was going. I told the club, any offers, I'm going to go. Because in January, my son was born, and the chairman, he weren't very well, so I was in special care with him. and the chairman phoned the manager to tell him that if I didn't win in on the Thursday, I was getting fined 2 weeks' wages. So this is like, so as a young dad whose little boy's in special care, not something you want to hear, especially like with me where I've got the longest of fuses as it is. So I went in and like told the manager exactly what I told him when he's sitting there crying. It wasn't me, Judge, it was the chairman, I said, all right, well tell the fucking chairman. And I'm getting sold at the end of the year. No transfer request, anything comes in. And I think the chairman, Jeff at the time, understood that. Like, what you've done there, you've overstepped the line. And then when I went to Cardiff, how it came about, there was a few clubs, Forest, Scunny. I was never going to Scunny. Because it's a Walsall, but in a better league. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, no, if I'm going to go up a league, club, I want to go to like a proper club, established club, one that's like looking and going places. So I went there, and Dave Jones' son, it was, phoned me out of the blue, because I spoke to him like 2 weeks previous. And he went, hi, Anthony, it's Lee. I was like, who's Lee? I was thinking, do I know anyone called Lee? And then he said, then that happened. I said, yeah, of course I'll do it. And then he phoned me. I said, yeah, it's done. I was like, all right. So then Dave Jones phoned me. And then that was the first conversation with Dave Jones was a little bit weird. Proper weird, in fact. Because he expected like just a lad to come in who was just like grateful to be there. Oh, we're the champions, just missed out on the playoffs and that. And he went, yeah, I brought you in to be 4th choice. And like we're sitting like across the desk, and I went, 4th choice? And he was like, yeah, we've got Mark Hudson, Gabor Gipesh. Who else did you have? Who else? I can't think. Somebody else, and then you. And I went, said, if you've still got the receipts, said, you best just asking for a refund of Walsall. Said, because I'm not one of these players. You're going to sit on the bench. He was like, what do you mean? He went, and I just went, I'll guarantee I start your first game of the season. And I think me confidence like took him back, to be honest.
Yeah.
And he was like, do you reckon? I was like, 100%. I'm going to play in your first game. And ironically, it was against Scunthorpe. We won 4-0.
Yeah.
But even pre-season, I was just, nothing was going to stop me from being in that team, do you know what I mean? Yeah. It was just one of them things.
That must, as you say, takes him back a bit, but proves why you were in the team on it. Because if you have that confidence, obviously you've got to be able to write the checks with whatever you're saying as well.
Of course,
but to do it, that must have also won him over, thinking, oh, I've signed a 4th choice who actually could go on and be my 1st choice.
Yeah.
I think that the dressing room at that time as well, you said maybe he didn't have the strongest hold on some of the bigger personalities in there. So do you reckon maybe you could have intimidated them in a way? Obviously your performance has done it, but like, do you reckon he was taken aback and like, oh, I'm going to have to do this because you're playing so well?
No, that weren't me. That I weren't like that, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like, that was just me football ability.
Yeah.
Like, some of them leaned on him. I know for a fact he did. Some of them, I'll tell you a story later on. But I was never, it was just me football ability. Watch, I'll show you. You can't leave me out with what I'm going to do, footballing wise. Do you know what I mean? It was never a case of like, I'm going to play too. Not like that.
No, I don't mean like scary, but I mean intimidating by saying, look, I'm going to be in your team, and then backing it up with the performances. He's almost like, oh my God, I'm going to have to do this because he's told me he's going to be this good. And
no, but what I mean is that there's one thing saying it, and then you've got to do it.
Yeah.
If I would have fell flat on my ass, I don't doubt he would have had no qualms in sitting me on the bench, you know what I mean? But I think we played Parma. Well, it started when I first signed. Then we flew out to Portugal, and I was like a wild man in training. I was just sticking my head in everything, dominating people, smashing into tackles, and I was like, no, I've set it out now, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And that just set me stall out then. And then, I played Celtic, done the same. And I think he was like, okay, Sam, you say what you mean what you say.
Yeah.
But like I said, if I didn't do it, he would have sat me on the bench. One of them.
And then in that time, obviously, you said you arrived just as they're on the cusp of nearly getting the Premier League, miss out. Was it your intention that you were going to get them into the Premier League? Obviously, that's what you always hoped for. And like, how close did you get? And are there any regrets that you didn't get up to that next step?
Yeah, well, that was so. Like I said, in my mind, so the contract I signed as well was a 4th choice centre half's contract. So I weren't happy with the contract when the agent came to me. I was like, hang on, I'm going from Walsall to this, and that's the contract.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, you know. So he knew all along, the agent, but didn't want to say to me. And I thought, you fucking shitbag. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Simon Kennedy, his name is. And I just thought, you fucking shitbag. But it was good in a way, because it was incentivised. So every 10 games, my wage jumped and I got a lump. And got a lump. Yeah. So I thought, oh my God, do you know what I mean? This is fucking brilliant, this. So it was, the club was really crying about it, because I was hitting all my thingos. And what normally happens when a player gets an incentivised contract and they're doing really well, the manager gets leaned on, drop him out.
Right, yeah.
So they don't need this incentive. It happens, you know, all the way. Yeah. But that didn't happen. So I think I played 38 games last season, playing when I was injured, because other people didn't want to play, because they had to be 100%. And then we fell short in the playoff final against Blackpool. Charlie Adams scored a worldie, Brett Ormrod. But and I was on the bench, started on the bench. I pulled my calf in the last step in training on the Friday before the 2 playoff games, not the semis.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't want to be the reason why we get beaten in the semis. So when I told the physio, he went, it's on you. He didn't say, yeah, okay, cool. He went, it's on you.
Nice one.
Yeah, you're giving your shares up, basically. I knew what I was doing. It was a calculated thing, yo. So when I seen him, he went, okay, I respect it. Thanks very much. I'll see you. Get ready for Wembley. Get ready for the final. And I just thought, okay, cool. So we get to the final, I'm going to be playing. And he shit on me, didn't he?
Yeah.
Played the others. But I 100% stand on the fact of, if I start, we get promoted quite easily.
Yeah, and why?
Just for what I was doing.
Yeah.
You should have heard the Raw when it came on in 70 minutes. Who brings a centre half on the 70 minutes in a playoff final?
Yeah.
You don't do you chasing the game.
You try and win, yeah.
The Raw was absolutely astronomical from the crowd, and I just thought, oh my God, these think I can do something here, even as a centre half.
Yeah. And
then I get on and start spraying balls everywhere. But like I said, I always back myself 100%.
Yeah. And that moments like that, obviously say at Wembley when that close, but what's it like after that game and how do you bounce back? Because that's obviously, I think, probably is considered the worst game to lose in it, because losing the
100%.
finals, but losing the playoff final and losing that one. What was it like?
I was going to go from League One to the Premier League in one season, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is crazy for anyone. Would I have been ready for the Premier League? I'm not too sure, but I would have given myself every fighting chance to make sure I was.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But that game, he knew. Dave Jones knew. And the reason why I knew he knew, is that we had our own, so they sorted a big party, because we were supposed to win. So they sorted a big party and all that. Who does that?
Yeah.
No, let's win it first. Then once we've won it and we're sitting in the changing rooms, then we can go where we were going on a night out. They had a party already sorted, J. Bothroyd, chops and all that, in the hotel. All your families, you got your own tables and all that. So my table was here, Dave Jones's was there. So I'm sitting here. My dad's sitting on one side, my father-in-law, who's no longer with us, was sitting on the other side. And Frank was the most placid man you'd ever wish to meet. A big R unit. He's black belt in kickboxing. And he sat there. So Dave Jones and all his family's on this table, and he's looking through people directly at me. And I've got my little boy on my knee. So I've got him, Harry. So he's sitting on my knee like that. So Frank goes, lad, he has to stop staring at you all night, you know. Says, you do my fucking head. And I'm like, no, Frank, it's all right. Just said he knows. So as I'm talking to Frank, I look up and I catch eyes and he goes, and I just like, and he knew exactly what I was saying, because I was looking directly at him, talking to Frank about. He knows that he's fucked it up by not playing me. If he plays me, we win. Yeah. And then that's it. And then the next season comes, he gets the bullet.
Yeah. Oh
no, he doesn't get the bullet. Sorry. I go to Hull then.
Yeah. That was, as you said, you can see how frustrating that would be as a player. So why has he not done that then? Because who came in your place? Was it who was it who's come in while you
Mark Hudson.
Yeah, so as he played well, and maybe he said to him, if you play well, you'll play the final. Do you know that's what the reason was?
The last 10 games, 12 games, me and Darcy Blake had an unbelievable partnership.
Yeah.
I was the big, powerful one winning the headers, and he was coming in behind me, mopping everything up. Both of us could play a little bit. So it was like a perfect yin and yang, you know what I mean? We went to QPR, it was like an Alamo. We ended up, Joe Ledley scored to get it, cement us into the playoffs. So that was the first step of it. we've cemented our place in the playoffs. Yeah. We failed last time, so we win 1-0 there. Defend unbelievable. Then it just goes on. And then, like I said, you live and die by your decisions, your choices, you know what I mean? As a person, as a manager, you know.
And did he explain that to you before the match?
No.
Or was it just, you see it on the team sheet? Or
yeah, on the team sheet.
That's it.
Yeah. Like I said, there's people, when they've got, like me, I've got courage in my conviction. If I'm going to do something, I'll explain why I've done it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's called having a set of bollocks, basically.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And he didn't have it.
Yeah.
Twice it's happened to me. Twice at Wembley.
Yeah. God, you do this one now if you wish. Or
No, we'll come round to that. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, but at 100%, there's no doubt in my mind.
And as you said before, speaking to a lot of players again, it's just have the honesty and to say it. Because if he sits you down and goes, "Oh, listen, he's played well in the 2 semis, and I'll bring you on. I'm sorry, I've done it." Maybe it feels better, but you're probably still annoyed and probably come out with your head.
Of course, but
at least he's had the honesty. Then
you respect the person for doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they've had the honesty and the respect to sit you down man to man. Because forget about football, it's a man to man thing.
Yeah.
It's a macho thing, and say this is why I'm going to do it. If he says that and says to me, "I need you to get them ready," cool, no problem.
Yeah. And you see, there's so many stories going back over the years, and it's even just one at the top of my head. Ian St. John kicks off at Bill Shankly because the first time he ever got dropped was didn't tell him. So like it's not like there's no past evidence of maybe if you just have a word with them, they do actually appreciate it more.
Yeah,
of course. It's mad that they wouldn't go that far. But before we go to Hull, just to look at like some more general questions about your career. And that I think Arteta mentioned about playing at Anfield and that sometimes it felt like a blur and the game was going past you. Have you ever had a stadium or a game where you felt like you couldn't keep control of what was happening around you? Maybe either because of atmosphere or because of the quality of the opponent, anything like that?
No, not off the top of my head. There will be games. Yeah. There's games where I've had to count how many opposition on the pitch. Honestly, there's games where I'm like, these like the fucking red arrows here. What's going on? Have they snuck a player on? There's games, and I'll guarantee most players have actually done that. Because you're just seeing bodies everywhere. Like, oh my god, what's going on?
It's non-stop.
Yeah, just non-stop. But there's no game where I've thought to myself, wow, like this is a big play. Yeah. I've always been present in the moment. So like, people say to me, lad, he plays football at the moment. And he says, what's it like playing? And I was like, I don't know, I can't explain it, mate. Because all the excess noise that goes on, if I'm standing here and the other man is on the other far side, I can hear what he's saying. So if my left back's telling me something, I can explain or I've got a good grasp of what he's trying to tell me.
Yeah.
I don't know how or why.
Yeah.
But it's like you just block everything out. Well, I did anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think most people do say that, though, don't they?
Yeah, even at Wembley. I think you're in that such a high, focused and concentrated state that you just don't, you know what I mean?
Don't even notice what's going on. Yeah. You've said yourself there before and already that you've got a bit of a short fuse. Is there a moment on the pitch where, what's the biggest regret on the pitch that you've had from a short fuse moment, or is yours maybe not so much like yours, like speaking your mind off the pitch more than doing it on the pitch? Or...
Yeah, no. I was always like, I went one of these players who like just went over the top on people just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
I'd always like tackle fair. Well, which no one's saying about like the way clarity of mind. Years later, I'd done a survey, or I don't know whether it was a survey or some kind of thing of Stephen McPhee. He used to play Norwich and stuff, and it was a questionnaire about elite mentality. So it just a list of questions, you know, in any particular order, just do them and blah blah blah. It came back that I had elite mentality as a sportsman, and I was like, well, what's elite mentality? I was like, no, like Premier League winners, blah blah blah. And I was like, fucking hell, it's a bit of a shame that my body couldn't fucking match it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I used to go off on people, or when they had something to say, it weren't, you know, like when people say something heat of the moment, I think, oh, I want to take that back. I had clarity in mind and knew exactly what I was saying and why I was saying it.
Yeah.
So if anybody ever did approach me and say, do you regret? No, because I knew exactly what I was saying at that time.
Why you were saying it, yeah. John Welsh was it again. He said the thing about a scouse tackle, and that it seems only the scousers have it, and that it's not, you're not trying to hurt someone, but you go in that hard to win it. There's a few players as well who say sometimes they need something to get them. I think Roy Keane said he's gone and shouted at people just to try and make them shout back to get himself fired up. So would there be a moment in the game that you remember where you've had to like do that to someone to try and get it going, or is it always dangerous since you've got that mindset? Have you ever felt like you've needed to go, I'm half asleep here in a game, I need to go through someone and get myself going?
No, with me, it was my first pass. It was my first pass or my first tackle, header, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I had to win it. Whether it was a header or a tackle, I had to win it. My first pass, I had to find people's feet. And then I was all right then. I was cool. I was in the game. Do you know what I mean? If that first pass, tackle, shot, whatever it was, didn't go to feet, I was like chasing it then until it fell for me. And then I was like, all right. But the longer it goes on, the more I was like, jittery.
Yeah.
But once that first pass, tackle, shot, whatever it was, I was good then.
That's the end of part 1 of our interview with Anthony Gerrard. Hope you've enjoyed it so far. Next week, we're going to pick up from the Malky Mackay era at Cardiff. It's a juicy story, goes into all the stuff that Malky did to Anthony. Definitely worth watching or listening, and I hope you've enjoyed this one so far. Also, keep an eye out for Show and Tell. It's a new series that we're doing. We've done like the FIFA ones, we've done Football History Awards. Show and Tell is where the guests bring in something from their career. Keep an eye out, that'll be out this week or next. Hope you've enjoyed watching this on YouTube, listening to it wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to watch or listen to next week's episode. And don't forget about our Patreon. It's only £1 per month. And you get to ask questions like we did to Anthony. He answers them. There's also monthly quizzes and all stuff like that. So sign up, patreon.com/the Football Historian Podcast. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. We'll see you next week for part 2. Keep an eye out for Show and Tell. And we'll be back soon with more content that I hope you're enjoying. See you next time. Thank you.
Locking eyes from across the room, heart is pounding. What have I have to lose? This kind of feeling tends to blur your sight.